Hello, welcome to episode 4 of Nick Lenz's Heroes Who Are Awesome and Cool. And in this episode, we're going to talk about Doctor Strange's counterpart from the DC Universe, who was introduced a little over 20 years before he did. And that's Dr. Fate. The Dr. Fate made his first appearance in More Fun Comics in 55, which I believe was also the debut of the Spectre. And he's created by legendary writer Gardner Fox and Howard Sherman. They created the original, two of them. Yeah, that's two of them. They have another one called Lenz Stratz. She made her first appearance in Dr. Fate #1 in 1987. Then there was Jared Stevens, who was basically the character known as simply Fate, and he made his first appearance in the series Fate. Let's see. Then there is Hector Hall, who was the grandson of the original Hawkman, and doesn't say exactly who created him here, not that I've seen. Then there's also Kent V. Nelson, who was the great nephew of the original Dr. Fate. He was created by Steve Gerber, and then you have the current Dr. Fate, who is in Earth 2 in New 52. That one is Khaled Ben Hassan, and he is the grandson of Kent Nelson in Earth 2, and he's created by James Robinson and Brent Booth. Now, let's talk about the original Dr. Fate first. The original Dr. Fate was actually in More Fun Comics from issues 55 to about, I'd say, 101. Let me double check that, make sure. Sorry, I didn't exactly bring up the stuff. Here we go. He was in the comic from More Fun Comics 55 to issue 98. But he was also starring in All-Star Comics, where he did not have a feature in the first 2 issues, but he did make his appearance. Now, in issue 3, he did become a founding member of the JSA. Did he ever leave the group? No, he never did. His wife Isa later became Dr. Fate briefly later on in the line. Pretty much when it comes to Dr. Fate, and by the way, he did make an appearance in the first Dr. Fate series, where he was the star, but then it was Hampton Stratz. I think briefly Isa got a chance to hold it. He had about a few different volumes. Oh yes, and the helmet, it's called Naboo. The whole outfit when he's Dr. Fate is Naboo. Yeah, he's old Egyptian sorcerer. And not much talk when it comes to Dr. Fate. His outfit, of course, has never changed. Heck, on Earth 2, his outfit gets a little bit of a change on that Earth, but it's a very minor change. But pretty much one thing the helmet has in common with every single person who has worn the helmet, or at least used the name Fate, the exception of Kent V. Nelson, everybody's dead. They have died in some way, shape, or form. There was also Eric Stratus, who was actually Linda Stratus' stepson. They actually sort of, in a way, kind of jointly held the helmet, but that's simply the way it is. When it comes to some of the other Dr. Fates, now the only Dr. Fate I will talk extensively about is the original Dr. Fate, Kent Nelson. As far as I know, the only appearances he made beyond it, now he made his last Golden Age appearance in He made his last appearance in All-Star Comics #21 He made his last Golden Age appearance in Morphon Comics number 98. He did appear frequently with the JLA when they teamed up with the JSA. He did appear also in Showcase 55-56 when he had teamed with Iron Man. He had a couple appearances in he appeared in he teamed up with Superman in Wolfsbane Comics number 208. He also appeared in issue 23 of DC Comics Presents. He also appeared with Batman in Brave and Bold in 156. He had a solo story in first issue, special number 9. He had a series of backup stories from Flash from issues 306 to 313. Trying to find something else. Oh yes, he did have a series called, well, he did sort of like a reprint series called The Immortal Fate. He did have an ongoing series where he was briefly the star of it. Then he was changed to somebody else. He did eventually die. Let's see. According to this, he passed away of old age. Him and his wife, Isa. And the successors, well, the first successor, Eric and his stepmother Linda, they were briefly Dr. Fate. Then, well, Eric was killed, and Linda had to do it on her own. And they were not around very long. They got killed in the Dr. Fate series. Isa briefly became Dr. Fate. Then she basically went to retire again. Then there was Jared Stevens, who was the character known as Fate. He only used the name Fate both in the Fate series and the Book of Fate series, where he was killed in the final issue of that series. Then you got Hector Hall, who was the grandson of the original. Then you got Kent V. Nelson, who was the grandson, who was the great nephew of the original Dr. Fate. Now, Dr. Fate, he did briefly in the Golden Age. He did briefly. Now the helmet was in fact shrunk, where it kind of acted like a cowl, where basically it didn't cover his whole face. Yeah, they briefly decided that, but excuse me, his most traditional outfit, this is the cover from JSA All Stars number 3, where his outfit is simply yellow cape with a yellow collar, yellow gloves, yellow boots. He wore an amulet and sort of like underwear outside the tights. Now, the current one does not really have the. He has very little change to him, but the only thing they really did not change about Dr. Fate over the years is his helmet. That's the one thing that has never changed about Dr. Fate. Now, is he interesting character to read about? Oh, yes, he is. He does have his own. I think he has his own trade paperback series. Let's see. Sorry, I'm not getting exactly fully. Okay, good. It's still here. Once it comes up, anyways. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, it looks like Dr. Fate's appearances have never been collected. So it'd be very hard to find any Dr. Fate appearances, but I would recommend that DC Comics are collecting his appearances. I mean, it's not really that much when it comes to his Golden Age stuff. I mean, it's like, what, 39 issues of this Morphon Comics he was in as solo stories. But is he as cool as Doctor Strange? Not really, no. Unlike Doctor Strange, when he made his debut, he was already married at the time when he made his debut back in the 40s. It was in May of 1940 when he made his debut. So it's been I'd say 74 years since his debut. Would DC Comics probably do a 75th anniversary for him like they did with with Batman this year? Maybe. I highly doubt they'll probably do a 50th anniversary for him because he's not that well known of a DC character that much. I know about him simply because I've seen him on Justice League Unlimited in the Smallville TV show. Oh yes, he has shown me Young Justice. I think that might be it. Yeah. Now, Dr. Fate. Now, there was also a brief period of time when it wasn't Dr. Fate, where they had the series called The Helmet of Naboo, and these were series of one-shots, people trying on the helmet, like Detective Chimp. Let's see. Yeah, they had Chimp, Isis the Invincible, Sargon the Sorcerer, whose daughter is the New 52, Black Alice, and Zeral. Before I went to Kent B. Nelson. Yeah, basically, kind of in a way, it was kind of like how Doctor Strange was searching for a new Sorcerer Supreme before he settled on the Bird of Voodoo. But, excuse me. But, is he a cool character? Oh, yes. Though, you may not be kind of into his stories very much because he's got a very limited rogues gallery. Let's see. His rogues gallery pretty much consists of people like Watoon. He does a few others, but I don't really know who else is a member of his rogues gallery. That's considered definitely a rogue for him besides Watoon. Yeah. When it comes to Dr. Fate, he doesn't have that many bad guys. Kind of like some of his other JSA comrades, where they don't have that many people in the rogues gallery. The rogues gallery is very, very tiny. Unlike some superheroes who has a very extensive rogues gallery, like Batman, Superman. Wonder Woman does kind of extensive rogues gallery, but not really that very much. That's just oh yes, and there's also Green Lantern has a extensive rogues gallery, Flash. Some of these other ones do have ones, but Dr. Fate does not have an extensive rogues gallery. He has maybe about 2 or 3, and all I can think of is Watoon. But if he does have any more bad guys besides Watoon, please listen in the comments below. And if I forget any particular information. Now, as far as I know, Dr. Fate, whoever's worn the helmet, has been part of basically both the JSA, the Justice League the Justice League International, the All-Star Squadron, and the Sentinels of Magic, and the current one is part of the Wonders of the World, which is a dumb name for a superhero team. I would just call them Justice Society. But I think eventually that they will have changed the name Justice Society soon. But that's somewhere down the line. Tim Taylor is the one writing Earth 2 right now since James Roberts left with issue 16. Yeah. I probably will do more members of JSA soon. Probably in future videos. If you want me to do a particular character from either from Marvel or DC, maybe from an indie company I may have heard of this character, I may do it. Please listen in the comments below. Please subscribe. I do, in fact, do the thumbs up and thumbs down. I do like likes, comments, subscribing. I don't have many subscribers on my channel, so please subscribe. It's a recommendation, not an order. Okay? That's it for me. See you all in my next video. Oh, one other thing. That actually, kind of my ending thing, how I do my videos, I kind of borrowed that from Anime Abandoned, which is held by Bennett the Sage. And if he's watching this, I'm just borrowing. I didn't steal it from you. I just borrowed and kind of twisted a little bit. I don't exactly just. I do in fact do that for my DVD reviews and do some like, oh look at this, I have my next thing, dude. Or I say the name. I do in fact do that for my DVD reviews, but not really. I just borrow the idea. I'm not really stealing it. I'm just borrowing it, using it my own way. So Abandon the Sage is watching this, knowing I didn't borrow your ending, your final note, but I'm just using it my own way. Okay? That's it. Next video. Bye.